Over the years, Nintendo has gained a reputation for taking a proven technology, innovating the hell out of it, and making something fun for people to enjoy. Take the Game & Watch, Nintendo's first success in video games. It repurposed LCD screens that were used for calculators back in the 70s and made a portable game system. It even introduced the D-pad as an evolution of the joystick, which is still popular today. The Game Boy, with its grayscale graphics, was able to blow by the color competition by offering up to 4 times their battery life. And then, of course, there's the Wii. By utilizing low-cost accelerometers and an infrared camera, the Wii made motion-controlled gaming the most talked-about aspect of the last console generation. And now we have the Wii U. By using tried-and-true tech in interesting new ways, Nintendo can keep the console at an attractive price, which is fine for its business model. But if you're anything like me, you want to find out the way the Wii U works. The most obvious innovation concerning the Wii U is its GamePad controller. This thing is loaded with tech that can be implemented in a variety of ways by different games on the system. So I'd like to make a point in this video to focus in on how this device brings something new to the table while utilizing the familiar. First, the touchscreen display, the pad portion of the Wii U's GamePad. It's the most prominent feature and the console's defining characteristic. As the first major game console to use a touchscreen input device, Nintendo had a couple different technologies to choose from. There are 2 major options for touchscreens on the market today: capacitive and resistive. Resistive touchscreens have been on the market longer and can be found in products like the Nintendo DS and 3DS. They consist of 2 clear sheets that are separated by a thin air gap, much like an air sandwich. The sheets are then coated with a material that conducts electricity, but due to that gap, a large resistance exists between the layers. When the top sheet, which is often made of a flexible plastic, is touched, it deforms, and the 2 conductive layers meet at one spot. By measuring the resistance of both layers at this point of contact, you can get an accurate measurement of the touch position. Capacitive touchscreens are newer and are popularly used with smartphones. These again consist of a sandwich-like structure, but this time with 2 spaced layers of glass, each with a conductive coating on the inside. These coatings are often laid in a grid, creating a series of capacitors, each of which stores energy in an electrostatic field. These capacitors are so small that objects in the space around them can change their properties. So, as your finger comes close to one of these capacitors, it changes the local electrostatic field. A system constantly monitors these values to discover exactly where your finger touches the screen. Capacitive touchscreens are more sensitive, since you barely need to brush them with your finger, whereas you must physically push down on a resistive screen. However, since capacitive screens rely on the electrical conductivity of your finger to work, they don't register gloved hands or insulated objects very well at all. With the ability to draw being an obvious attraction of the GamePad, resistive touchscreens are a better choice since they work better with styluses. Capacitive styluses do exist, but they also add cost. And considering that capacitive screens are more expensive than resistive ones anyway, you can see why Nintendo uses a resistive touchscreen on their GamePad. Otherwise, the screen size would have to be smaller or the price increased to compensate, and that just reduces the mass appeal. The GamePad screen is more than just a touch interface, however. In certain games, it can be used as the main display, such as when your significant other kindly suggests you relinquish the TV. Whether playing a game or watching a hilarious YouTube video, this second screen gaming is made possible by a special form of Wi-Fi, which for over a decade has been the standard for wireless internet communications. By fusing ordinary Wi-Fi with a powerful bit of proprietary software, Nintendo has created a 2-way stream of low-latency, high-definition video and control between the Wii U and the GamePad. Nintendo claims the GamePad can communicate at up to 26 feet from the console with no obstructions, but regular Wi-Fi is known to broadcast at well up to twice that range, so I decided to run through the paces myself. First, from the kitchen. With a line of sight to the console and a refreshing beverage in hand, I'm able to get a signal at up to 38 feet, so I can finally play Mario without worrying about burning my salad. Meanwhile, in the backyard, with the signal passing through an outer wall, I'm able to successfully play a game at up to 28 feet. And while upstairs, through an internal wall and a floor, I am still receiving signal at up to 23 feet. In many varied situations, I found complicated wireless communication to work without incident. Now, these tests were conducted in a suburban home, with all the electromagnetic interference you might expect from such a setting. Depending on where you live, your mileage may vary, but either way, it gives you an idea of what to expect from this new form of Wi-Fi communication. Another use for the GamePad that already seems popular amongst the Wii U's launch titles, like Zombie U here, is observing the in-game environment by actually looking through the GamePad and moving it around. This is accomplished with a microscopic gyroscope in the GamePad. Observe this normal-sized gyroscope. Once it starts spinning, it'll keep rotating in its initial plane regardless of where the support structure moves. This is due to conservation of angular momentum. The momentum of a spinning object will not change unless acted upon by an outside force. As you can see here, if the GamePad could measure this plane as a reference with its own gyroscope, it would be able to sense angular movement when the GamePad itself is moved. This property of rotating bodies also holds for vibrating masses. So if you apply electricity to a couple of drive capacitor plates and hold a small mass in between them, the mass will vibrate at a high rate. No matter how the plates are turned, the mass will continue to vibrate in the initial orientation, and you'll have a microscopic gyroscope. This is how the GamePad's gyroscope works. This technology has been around a long time, so again, a simple principle of physics is put to work to create a more immersive gameplay experience. By using reliable tech in an innovative way, Nintendo has been very clever in their development of the Wii U. I only delved into the way 3 of its components work, but you can see how it all fits together. No one would ever mistake this for bleeding-edge technology, but that's not what Nintendo needs to succeed or make fun games. I think anyone would admit that the Wii U has a lot of potential. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.